Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Ladies and come on, man. Just lie down. I'll take over. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Line Golf Academy, and today we are going to be talking about swing playing. I'll be talking about driver playing, and this guy will be talking about your iron planes and how they differentiate, what you are looking for in the way you set up, and how each club is a little bit different than each other. And sometime in this video, I'm going to tell you the worst drill that I see a lot of people on the range doing that actually destroys their swing playing and makes things 10 times worse for themselves, and they eventually go to see a golf professional. So let's get right to it. And this guy, I'm just going to let him sleep there. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video. We'll be talking about our 1,000 subscriber giveaway, which includes personal lessons from me as a reward. And also, if you're not too close for me, you don't want to fly from Antarctica, if you're watching these videos in the Arctic Circle, you don't want to fly down here, I'll buy you a lesson from your local PGA professional. So stay towards the end of the video and find out more. So before we start, let's talk about what swing plane is. The swing plane is this imaginary line that is funneling to the golf ball. It can be very steep, which means it goes straight up and down, or it can go horizontal, which means it works its way parallel to the ground. Now, the longer the club becomes, the more it becomes parallel to the ground. You never really want it to be parallel to the ground unless you're looking to dislocate some fingers. Now, there are some things that we look for besides the length of the club, and number one is going to be your setup. How we set up to the ball with our golf club really sets the tone for our plane. Now, if I'm standing very much over the golf ball with a lot of bend forward, that is going to change my plane to be a little bit steeper. The taller I stand, the flatter my natural plane becomes. And this all comes down to the lie angle of your club. So for a longer club, the lie angle is going to be facing further away from you. With a shorter club, the lie angle is going to be facing closer towards you. Now that's going to change the path of that initial club. Think of it like a static path. That is the direction that's already predetermined to go into. Now what we do in our golf swing changes that static plane to a dynamic. And a dynamic plane means what is going on with your body. Now there, besides the club, the setup has a lot to do with it. So next we're going to talk about how we set up for every club and how that changes based on the length. Now obviously the taller the club is, the further you stand away from it and taller you become, which gives it a little bit more flatter plane, which is a little bit easier to swing. However, because it's a longer club, the degrees get less, and as you get less degrees, the stronger the club becomes, which means the lower the loft it is, the more your misses just become uncontrolled. So the ball position plays a big part. So if I have a swing where my ball position is in the middle and it's connected to my spine, I'm more likely going to stay in connection with my body. However, if I'm playing a ball position that is in front of me towards my lead foot, I have to make some changes. Some changes I see some students making is disconnecting from their hands, and now all of a sudden they cannot release that club face, so they have to adjust their motion. So if I'm here with my hands ahead, if I release that club face, that golf ball is going way less, so now I have to start to tilt and turn a lot, and that's going to change your plane. So when you're changing your plane by tilting, you are taking your tilting axis and you're pointing it this way. So all of a sudden you are going in to out, and you have to do something to compensate. Usually we try and flip our hands. We get this chicken wing action because our hands are released too soon and they have to create room, so your arms decide to break away because you don't want to break your wrist. Or we start holding our release, we get our hands to return to where they were and keep that golf ball centered to my chest. The plane is not a simple thing to discuss because many things affect it. And if you're watching videos that promise you this and promise you that by simply doing this, it's not going to work. We are so individualized. I can describe what plane is, but what your problem is, you have to go see a golf professional and they will help you figure out your body style. Now this is not a scientific fact. It is just something I have noticed in the 25 years of teaching. I've noticed that people with shorter arms tend to be pretty good ball strikers. And what I've noticed too is the longer the arms become, the more independent they are. And the more independent they are can really dramatically affect their plane. Now let me show you what I mean. So if I'm going to extend my plane out this way. So you can see this is basically where my plane should be. So if I have shorter arms, they're going to be connected to my chest. They're going to be closer to my chest. And by having shorter arms, they're going to be staying to my body a little bit easier because they can't really extend out. And that allows my hands and arms to go down that plane pretty easily. So the longer my arms become naturally, now all of a sudden my arms, their motions can be a little bit more independent, and that can change where your motions are. So not only is it this issue, it's also the amount of rotation that your hands have that can affect your playing. It is also the tilting, which brings us to the next topic, is your tilting. So typically in the golf swing, we want to just go ahead and rotate around our spine, and wherever we are bending, that's where the rotation should be. We should not try and add tilt, and we should not try and take away tilt. Once you do one of those two things, that's going to affect the motion of your playing. It's going to set you up for failure. I'm going to look at this angle, and this angle should turn to that angle. So if I'm standing upright, this is 0 degrees at the top of my swing. This is 0 degrees. If I'm 45 degrees over, that's about as 45 as I can get before I start blowing my back out. If I just go ahead and turn around my spine, my shoulders should be 45 degrees. So if I take my swing up here, if I start to add tilt, what just happened to my plane? I kept my wrist the same, everything's the same. I tilt, my plane is very steep. So now I have to find a way to get out of that steepness. And this is where we start to see either a body correction or a hand correction. Sometimes we do both. And now is the time to tell you what that swing tip I see that most people are using correctly. And I see them use a towel, I see them use a golf head cover. But for me, I'm gonna use a flip-flop because I have no towel or golf head cover near me. I just grabbed the closest thing I could. Hopefully it's mine. I see this a lot. I see underneath the right elbow, and I see this all day long. So what are they trying to do? Well, it depends on what their coach is working on, but most likely they're not working with a coach. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep their arms from flailing up. They think that they've read Hogan's 5 Secrets and you've got to keep that elbow to the body at all the times, but that's not the case. So what can be the bad thing about this is when I try and stay too connected, is as the top of my swing, in order for this to stay here, look at how low my arms become. I cannot get them up to that position. And I see this, I start to see tilting to try and make sure their elbow's connected. I see that club very far inside, and from here, there is no way for them to hit that golf ball correctly. And this can not only lead to destroying your playing, but it can also destroy your swing entirely. So just be very careful. Instead, if you want to feel connected on the way down, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get that reach, and this is where lag comes in. We're trying to get that reach, and then on the transition, that's where you reconnect and you bring things closer to your center, and from there we get the whole body through. So make sure you just use the towels for what they're designed to do, which is clean your golf clubs and wipe the sweat off your brow. What are some good drills I can do so I know I'm getting in my correct playing? Well, first of all, it's really hard to tell you what good drills to do because I don't know your golf swing, I don't know your body. We're all so different, and for my older golfers, range of motion is not the same as it was 20-30 years ago, so some of these drills might not even apply to you. So be careful when you use these drills, and be careful when you watch other videos. What I try and do in this channel is help educate and mostly point you in the direction of getting some professional assistance. If push comes to shove and you want to do some motions, I'm going to teach you how to look at your plane to figure out your range of motion and build it from there. So you can do this with a couple alignment rods. Let's just start with one alignment rod. So you want to just go ahead and put this right in the center of your chest. And this is where you figure out, okay, how much am I bending over? From that point, you just want to look at that line and see, can I retain that line while I turn? Do I see that line going down? Do I see the line coming up completely? What you are looking to do is stay in your tilt. Now what that'll help you do then is now your hands can be out in front of your chest. So turn, reach out, hinge the wrists, figure out that plane that you want them to be on, pull hands in and rotate. And you can also do this with a club. So if you do have a club in your hand, we're going to pretend that this is the club. We're going to put this one on the other side. Then you're going to just go ahead and grab it underneath and do the same thing. Once you've done this a few times, there's my position. Too steep, too flat, too flat, too steep. It's all about neutral. We reconnect the hands to the body, and then we just go ahead and turn. Please keep in mind, this comes down to your rotation. This is not a cure-all. It might help some people. It might hurt some people. So make sure you go see a golf professional. All right, if you made it this far, you're going to look at our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. What we're going to do is, starting with this video, if you wish to add a comment below, just type in Wichita. You have to go way back to the Reddit golf swing analysis and you'll find out what Wichita means. But just type in Wichita. For every comment that you write down Wichita, I will put it into a special file, a hidden file. And once we hit that 1,000 subscribers, I'll do a live reveal and we'll do the spin. We'll put your name on the board and spin you around. And if you land on it, You want a free lesson from me? I'm going to give away 10 of these lessons, so your odds are decent, better than the California State Lottery. And there's no amount of entries, but it's only one entry per video. I don't want to wake up one morning and see 400 comments from one person in one video. Thanks again for supporting the channel. As a reminder, we do donate all the profits from this channel to the Heal the Hood Foundation for junior golf. So if you're following us, I appreciate your support, and I will see you next time. Fairways and greens.